Mark sat in his glass office, staring at the numbers on his computer screen. The numbers were not good. The company, which had done well for years, was now facing a serious problem. Sales had dropped, and expenses had gone up. The holiday season was close, and normally, this time of year was full of joy and celebration. But this year, everything felt different. Mark was the CEO of a small tech company called Bright Tech. The company was like a family to him. He had started it 10 years ago with a few friends, and over time, it grew into a place where more than 100 people worked every day. Bright Tech was known for making helpful software, and the team was proud of their work. Every year, Mark gave the employees a holiday bonus. It was a small way to say thank you for their hard work. For many people, that bonus was important. Some used it to buy gifts for their families. Others paid bills or saved it for something special. Mark always enjoyed giving the bonuses because he loved to see the smiles on his employees' faces. But this year, Mark had to make a hard choice. The company did not have enough money to give the bonus. If he gave it, Bright Tech might lose even more money, and that could put jobs at risk. Mark felt heavy with worry. He knew the news would be disappointing, but he had to be honest. The next morning, Mark called a company-wide meeting. The employees gathered in the big conference room, chatting quietly. Some were talking about holiday plans, others about their work projects. The room felt warm and full of hope. Mark stepped onto the small stage at the front of the room. He looked at the faces in the crowd, young and old, new employees and old friends. He took a deep breath and began to speak. "Good morning, everyone," he said. "Thank you all for coming. I want to talk about something important today." The room grew silent. Mark saw people looking at each other, wondering what was coming. "As you know, this year has been very challenging for us. Our sales have gone down, and costs have gone up. We have done everything we can to save money and keep the company strong." Mark paused and looked down at his notes. He felt a lump in his throat but kept going. "Usually, at this time of year, we give a holiday bonus to thank you all for your hard work. It is something I have always been proud to do. But this year, I have to tell you that we cannot give the bonus." A soft murmur went through the room. Some people looked surprised, others looked sad. A few faces showed worry. Mark could see Sarah in the crowd, one of the customer service employees, biting her lip. "I know this is disappointing," Mark continued. "I wish things were different. I want to be honest with you because I respect all of you. We are working hard to turn things around, and I believe we will get there." Mark's voice shook a little, but he tried to stay strong. "Thank you all for your understanding. Your hard work means everything to this company. We will find other ways to show our appreciation." After he finished, Mark stepped down and left the stage. The room stayed quiet for a moment. Then, some employees started to talk softly with each other. Sarah felt her heart sink. She had been counting on that bonus. Her daughter, Mia, was only 7 years old, and Sarah wanted to buy her a small gift for the holidays. Sarah worked long hours to make sure every customer was happy, and the bonus helped her family in many ways. Now, with no bonus, Sarah wasn't sure what she would do. She looked around at her co-workers. Some looked upset, others looked tired. The holiday spirit she had felt a few minutes ago was starting to fade. Mark walked back to his office, feeling the weight of the moment. He opened his door and sat down heavily in his chair. He thought about the people who worked for him, the families they had, and the challenges they faced. He remembered the story of one employee, an older man named Ben, who lived alone but had helped many others in the company. Ben had lost his wife last year and relied on the bonus to help with his medical bills. Mark felt a deep sadness. Mark knew that this decision was the hardest he had made as CEO. But he also knew that sometimes, leaders must make tough choices for the good of everyone. In the days that followed, the news about the cancelled bonus spread throughout the office. Some people tried to stay positive, but others felt worried about their own situations. Sarah talked quietly with her friend, Lisa, about how they could still find small ways to celebrate. Mark decided he would visit the employees personally. He wanted to hear their thoughts and maybe find a way to help in other ways. He believed in the strength of the team and hoped they could come together. That evening, Mark sat at his kitchen table, looking at old photos of the company's early days. He smiled, remembering the laughter and dreams they shared. He promised himself he would do everything he could to bring back that hope and joy, even if this year was different. The holiday season was still ahead, and Mark hoped that, despite the challenges, the company's spirit would shine bright. Sarah sat at her small desk, staring at her computer screen, but her mind was far away. The words Mark had said the day before kept running through her head. No holiday bonus this year. It was hard to believe. Every year, the bonus had been a small light of hope during the cold winter months. Now, that light felt dim. She glanced around the office. People were trying to focus on their work, but the energy had changed. Usually, at this time of year, the office buzzed with excitement. There were talks about holiday parties, gift ideas, and plans for time off. This year, conversations were quieter, and smiles were fewer. Sarah sighed and thought about Mia, her little daughter. Mia was only 7 years old but full of joy and curiosity. Sarah wanted to give her something special for the holidays: a small toy, a warm coat, maybe even a book she could read with her at night. The bonus had helped with those things in the past. Without it, Sarah wasn't sure how she would manage. She closed her eyes for a moment, remembering last year's holiday. Mia had unwrapped a colorful doll, and her face had lit up with happiness. Sarah had worked extra hours to save for that gift. She wanted that joy again, but now, it seemed out of reach. At lunch, Sarah sat with Lisa, her close friend and co-worker. Lisa noticed Sarah's quiet mood right away. "Are you okay?" Lisa asked gently. Sarah forced a small smile. "I'm fine. Just thinking about the news from yesterday." Lisa nodded. "Yeah, it's tough. I know the bonus helps a lot of people." Sarah looked around the lunchroom. Some co-workers were laughing softly, trying to keep the mood light. Others sat alone, staring at their food. "It's going to be a different holiday season," Sarah said quietly. "But maybe we can find other ways to make it special." Lisa smiled. "That's the spirit. We're all in this together." After lunch, Sarah walked back to her desk. She noticed a small note on the bulletin board by the break room. It was a message from Ben, the older employee Mark had thought about, the one who had lost his wife last year. "Even when times are hard, kindness is the best gift we can give. Let's support each other." Sarah felt a warm feeling inside. Ben's words were simple but true. Maybe, even without the bonus, the company could still be a place where people cared for each other. The afternoon passed slowly. Sarah answered calls from customers, helping with questions and solving problems. She smiled when she could, but inside, she worried about how she would manage her bills and buy Mia a small gift. At home that evening, Sarah sat at the kitchen table with Mia. Mia was drawing pictures of snowmen and holiday trees. Sarah wished she could give her more than just crayons and paper. "Mom, can we have a holiday party at home?" Mia asked, looking up with big eyes. Sarah smiled softly. "Of course, sweetheart. We'll make it special." Mia nodded happily and went back to her drawing. Sarah felt a mix of sadness and hope. She didn't know how the holidays would turn out, but she promised herself she would do her best for Mia. Back at the office, other employees were feeling the same quiet disappointment. Some talked in small groups about their own plans and worries. Tom, who worked in sales, shared with a few co-workers that he had been counting on the bonus to help with car repairs. Now, he wasn't sure how he would manage. Despite the worries, something else was beginning to grow. People were starting to talk about ways they could help each other. Quiet conversations about sharing rides, swapping gifts, and cooking together began to fill the hallways. One day, Sarah found a small box on her desk with a note, "A little something to brighten your day. From your friends at Bright Tech." Inside was a homemade cookie and a small card with a kind message. Sarah felt tears in her eyes. Even though the bonus was gone, the kindness from her co-workers made her feel seen and cared for. Mark, in his office, was hearing stories like this from his managers. He learned about the little acts of kindness spreading through the company. It gave him hope. Maybe, he thought, the true spirit of the holidays was about more than money, it was about people coming together. One afternoon, Mark called Sarah to his office. She felt nervous but also curious. When she arrived, Mark smiled warmly. "Sarah, I wanted to thank you," he said. "I know this year has been hard, and I want you to know we appreciate everything you do." Sarah blinked, surprised. "Thank you, Mark. That means a lot." Mark leaned forward. "I'm planning to visit more employees and hear how we can support everyone better. Your story is important." Sarah felt a bit of relief. Maybe things would get better. As the days passed, Sarah and her co-workers worked harder to keep the office positive. They shared stories, helped each other with small tasks, and planned a simple holiday gathering. The bonus might be gone, but the company was still a place where people cared. That night, Sarah sat with Mia again, reading a story about kindness and hope. Mia smiled and hugged her mom. "Mom, I love our holiday party," Mia said softly. Sarah smiled back. "Me too, Mia. Me too." Outside, the winter wind blew softly, but inside their small home, warmth and love filled the air. The holiday season was coming, and even without the bonus, Sarah felt a small spark of hope. Mark sat alone in his office, the quiet hum of the city outside barely reaching him. The day's meeting and the reactions of his employees weighed heavily on his mind. The decision to cancel the holiday bonus had been one of the hardest moments in his career. He knew it was necessary, but knowing and feeling were two very different things. The walls of his office were lined with pictures from the early days of Bright Tech, small teams working in cramped rooms, laughing and dreaming big. Now, the company had grown, but the spirit Mark remembered was what he cared about most. He looked out the window and saw employees walking by, some smiling and chatting, others with tired or worried faces. Mark's heart ached for them. How could he help? Was there something more he could do to ease their worries? Later that evening, Mark sat at his kitchen table with a cup of tea. His wife, Linda, noticed his troubled look. "Mark, you look worried," she said softly. He sighed. "It's this bonus situation. I hate that I had to cancel it. I know how much it means to the team, to their families." Linda reached over and squeezed his hand. "You did what you had to do. Sometimes leaders face tough choices. But you care, and that counts." Mark nodded, grateful for her support. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to do more. Back at the office, Sarah was also feeling the weight of the news. She sat at her desk, trying to focus on her work, but her thoughts kept drifting to her bills and Mia's holiday plans. She noticed her co-worker, Lisa, looking at her with concern. "Want to take a break?" Lisa asked. Sarah smiled weakly. "I think I need one." They went to the small break room, where a few others had gathered. The room was quiet, but there was a feeling of shared struggle. Tom, from sales, spoke up. "I was really counting on that bonus to fix my car. It's been breaking down a lot lately." Ben, the older employee, nodded slowly. I'm behind on some medical bills. The bonus helped before. Sarah looked around. Everyone had a story, a worry, a hope. Lisa sighed. It's hard. But we have each other. Maybe that's something. Sarah felt a small spark of hope. Maybe they could find strength in their team. That night, Sarah sat at home, thinking about the day. She knew Mark had made a tough decision, but she also knew he cared about them. She wished she could tell him how much the bonus meant to her family. The next morning, Sarah arrived early at the office. As she walked through the halls, she noticed small signs of kindness. Someone had left homemade cookies in the kitchen. Another person had taped a note to the bulletin board that said, "We're stronger together." Sarah smiled. Even without the bonus, the company was still a place of caring. Mark was walking through the office that morning, stopping to talk to employees. When he reached Sarah's desk, he stopped. "Good morning, Sarah," he said. "Good morning, Mark," she replied, surprised. "I wanted to check in. How are you holding up?" Sarah thought for a moment. "It's hard. But the kindness here helps. We're trying to support each other." Mark nodded. "That means a lot. I want you to know, we're thinking about new ways to show appreciation, even if the bonus isn't possible right now." Sarah smiled, feeling hopeful for the first time in days. As the week went on, Mark spent more time with the employees. He listened to their stories and worries. He realized that the company was more than numbers, it was about people and their lives. One afternoon, Mark met with his management team. "We need to find ways to keep spirits up," he said. "Extra time off, small gifts, anything that shows we care." The managers agreed and started making plans. Meanwhile, Sarah and her co-workers began organizing a small holiday party. It wouldn't be fancy, but it would be a chance to come together and celebrate. At home, Sarah told Mia about the party. Mia's eyes lit up with excitement. "I can't wait," she said. Sarah smiled, feeling warmth spread through her chest. That night, Mark stayed late in his office, writing a letter to the whole company. He wanted to explain everything honestly and share his plans for the holidays. When he finished, he felt a little lighter. Maybe this holiday season wouldn't be perfect, but it could still be meaningful. As he looked out the window at the city lights, Mark hoped that his employees would see his true intentions. He wanted to be a leader who cared, not just about profits but about people. The days ahead were uncertain, but Mark believed in the strength of his team. Together, they could face the challenges and find joy in small moments. And so, behind closed doors, both Mark and Sarah carried hope, a hope that even in difficult times, kindness and understanding could light the way. The days passed slowly, and the holiday season felt different at Bright Tech. Though the bonus had been cancelled, something surprising began to happen. Small acts of kindness started to spread quietly among the employees. It was as if, in the face of disappointment, the team had found a new way to support each other. Sarah noticed it first one morning when she arrived early. As she entered the break room, she found a basket full of fresh fruit and homemade cookies on the table. A small note was attached, "For anyone who needs a little extra sweetness today. From your Bright Tech family." Sarah smiled, her heart warming. She took a cookie and went to her desk, thinking about the kindness behind the simple gesture. Later that day, Lisa stopped by Sarah's desk. "Did you see the cookies?" she asked with a smile. "I heard they were from Ben." Sarah nodded. "That's so thoughtful. I think we all need that right now." Ben was one of the oldest employees, quiet and gentle, but well loved by the team. His small act showed that even without a bonus, people still cared deeply for one another. As the week went on, more of these small kindnesses appeared. Someone left scarves and gloves in a box for anyone who needed them. Another group organized a ride-sharing schedule so people could help each other get to work in bad weather. Sarah even received a hand-knit hat from a coworker she barely knew. These gestures did more than brighten the days. They built a sense of community that money couldn't buy. One afternoon, Sarah noticed Tom from sales helping a new employee carry a heavy box. She saw Lisa sharing her lunch with someone who had forgotten theirs. Small moments of care were everywhere. At the same time, Mark was hearing stories of these acts through his managers. He felt proud of the team. Their kindness was a reminder that Bright Tech was more than just a business, it was a family. One day, Mark decided to surprise the office. He arranged for a small food truck to park outside, offering free hot chocolate and snacks to all employees during their lunch break. When the employees saw the truck, smiles spread across faces. Some laughed and chatted while waiting in line. For a moment, the worries about the cancelled bonus felt lighter. Sarah stood in line with Lisa, holding her warm cup of cocoa. "This is nice," Lisa said. "It feels like the company still cares." Sarah agreed. "It does. And I'm glad we're all finding ways to care for each other too." Mark walked through the crowd, handing out cups and chatting with people. He stopped by Sarah and Lisa. "I'm glad you're enjoying this," Mark said. "We want to make sure you know how much you mean to us, even if we can't give the bonus this year." Sarah smiled. "It really helps." "Thank you, Mark." As the day ended, Sarah returned to her desk feeling hopeful. The kindness in the office was a bright light during a difficult time. That evening, Sarah went home and told Mia about the food truck surprise. Mia's eyes sparkled. "Can I have hot chocolate too, Mom?" Sarah laughed softly. "Maybe we can make some at home." Mia hugged her mom tightly. "I love you." Sarah felt tears in her eyes. She realized that even without fancy gifts or bonuses, love and kindness were the greatest gifts of all. The next day, Sarah found a small envelope on her desk. Inside was a card that read, "Thank you for being a kind heart in our team. You make a difference." It was unsigned, but Sarah guessed it was from one of her co-workers. She kept the card close, reading it whenever she felt unsure. Meanwhile, Mark continued to think about how to support his team. He knew the cancelled bonus had caused worry, but the kindness spreading through the company gave him hope. One afternoon, Mark called a meeting with his leadership team. "The kindness in the office is wonderful," he said. "We need to build on this. Let's find ways to support each other and make this holiday season special." The managers agreed, and they began planning small events and surprises, simple things like decorating the office, holding a small gift exchange, and giving extra days off. Back in the office, Sarah joined a group organizing the holiday party. Though it was smaller than usual, everyone was excited. They planned games, music, and a potluck dinner where everyone could bring a dish to share. As the days grew colder outside, the warmth inside Bright Tech grew stronger. One afternoon, Sarah walked by Ben's desk. He smiled and handed her a small box wrapped in paper. "I made this for you," he said quietly. Sarah opened it and found a hand-carved wooden ornament, simple but beautiful. "Thank you, Ben," she said, touched. "This means a lot." Ben nodded. "It's not about gifts or money. It's about caring." Sarah thought about all the small kindnesses she had seen. They reminded her that even in hard times, people could come together and support one another. That night, Sarah and Mia decorated their small tree. Mia hung the wooden ornament Ben had given her in a special place. "Look, Mom," Mia said happily. "It's beautiful." Sarah smiled, feeling a peace she hadn't felt in weeks. The holiday season was not what they had hoped for, but it was filled with something more important: kindness, love, and hope. And for Sarah, that was enough. The day of the holiday party arrived, and Bright Tech was buzzing with quiet excitement. Despite the cancelled bonus and the challenges the company had faced, The employees had come together to create something special. The decorations were simple strings of colorful lights, paper snowflakes, and handmade ornaments. But the warmth in the room was more powerful than any decoration. Sarah arrived early, carrying a dish she had prepared at home, a warm vegetable stew. Lisa was already there, setting up the music and arranging snacks on the tables. Others were hanging decorations or chatting quietly, smiling more than they had in weeks. Mark walked through the door just as the party was beginning. He paused for a moment, taking in the scene. The office didn't look like a place of disappointment. Instead, it felt alive with hope and kindness. Mark felt a deep gratitude for his team. He smiled as he saw Sarah and Lisa. "Thank you for all your hard work organizing this," he said. Sarah smiled back. "It's the least we could do. We wanted everyone to feel happy, even if things are different this year." Mark nodded. "I'm proud of all of you." As more people arrived, the room filled with laughter and chatter. The music played softly, and the scent of food warmed the air. People shared stories about their holidays and dreams for the future. Tom, who had been worried about his car repairs, stood near the snack table, chatting with Ben and a few others. The atmosphere felt relaxed and friendly. Sarah noticed Mia's eyes shining as she ran around with some of the other children who had come with their parents. Despite the tough times, the joy in Mia's face was a reminder of why they celebrated. Mark took a moment to speak to the whole group. He stood near the front and raised his glass. "Thank you all for coming tonight," he said. "I know this year has been hard for many of us. Canceling the holiday bonus was a difficult decision, but seeing how everyone has come together shows the true spirit of Bright Tech. This company is not just about work, it's about people supporting each other." The room grew quiet, and many faces looked grateful. Mark continued, "I want you all to know we are working hard to make next year better. For now, let's enjoy tonight and remember what really matters: kindness, friendship, and hope." Sarah clapped along with the others, feeling a warmth in her heart. The party continued with games, music, and stories. People shared homemade treats, and some sang holiday songs. The small office was filled with laughter and light. Later, Mark approached Sarah. "How are you holding up?" he asked gently. Sarah thought for a moment. "It's been hard, but tonight reminds me why I love this company. We may not have the bonus, but we have each other." Mark smiled. "That's the most important thing." After the party, many employees stayed late, helping clean up and sharing quiet conversations. The office felt different, more like a community than ever before. Sarah packed up her things and prepared to leave. Lisa joined her. "This was a great night," Lisa said. "I feel hopeful." Sarah nodded. "Me too." As Sarah walked outside, she felt the cold night air but also a warmth inside. She thought about Mia waiting at home and the simple joy the party had brought. When Sarah got home, Mia ran to greet her with a big hug. "Mom, I had so much fun," she said. Sarah smiled, lifting her daughter into her arms. "Me too, sweetheart." "Me too." That night, as Sarah tucked Mia into bed, she realized that even though the bonus was gone, the love and care around her were gifts she could never lose. The next morning, Mark sat at his desk, reviewing plans for the coming year. The challenges were still there, but so was the strength of the team. He knew the road ahead would not be easy, but he felt ready to face it. He looked at a photo on his desk, his team, smiling from last year's holiday party. This year's celebration had been different, but just as meaningful. Mark picked up his phone and sent a message to Sarah and the leadership team, "Thank you all for making this holiday season special. Together, we will grow stronger." And with that, the future of Bright Tech felt a little brighter. The first weeks of the new year brought a fresh start to Bright Tech. Although the holiday season had passed without the usual bonus, something had changed in the company, something deeper than money or rewards. Sarah felt it every day she came to work. The small acts of kindness and the spirit of teamwork had not faded with the holidays. Instead, they had grown stronger. People smiled more often, helped one another willingly, and shared ideas with energy and hope. One morning, Sarah arrived at the office and noticed a new poster on the bulletin board. It read, "Bright Tech Growth, Together, We Can." Below the title was a list of new projects and goals for the year ahead, encouraging employees to get involved. Sarah was excited to see that the company was looking forward, planning ways to improve and succeed. She decided to volunteer for a team focused on customer support improvements, hoping to make a difference. Mark was busy in his office, working closely with his leadership team. He wanted to show his employees that their hard work and care mattered. The cancelled bonus had been a hard choice, but Mark believed that honest communication and real support would build trust. One afternoon, Mark invited Sarah and a few other employees to a small meeting. "I want to thank you all for your dedication," he said. "We are facing challenges, but together we will find solutions. Your ideas and voices matter." Sarah felt encouraged. She shared her thoughts about how the company could improve customer support and suggested ways to make work more balanced for employees. The conversation was open and positive. Mark listened carefully, promising to take their feedback seriously. Meanwhile, Sarah's life outside work was slowly improving. The kindness she had experienced at Bright Tech gave her strength. She found creative ways to manage her budget and even saved a little money each month. Mia's laughter filled their small home, reminding Sarah of what really mattered. One day, Sarah received a letter in the mail. It was from a local community center, thanking Bright Tech for a recent donation to help families in need. Sarah smiled. She didn't know about the donation, but it showed that the company cared beyond its walls. Sarah shared the news with her co-workers, and they felt proud to be part of something bigger. As the months passed, Bright Tech slowly recovered. New clients came, and projects moved forward. The company wasn't yet back to where it had been, but the foundation was strong. One afternoon, Sarah sat at her desk, looking out the window at the soft rain. She thought about the year behind and the year ahead. Suddenly, Lisa stopped by with a big smile. "Guess what? The management just announced a surprise." Sarah raised her eyebrows. "What kind of surprise?" Lisa handed her a small envelope. Sarah opened it and found a note. "As a thank you for your hard work and dedication, we are giving all employees a small bonus this month. It's not the holiday bonus, but a step toward better times." Sarah's heart lifted. She smiled widely and looked around the office. Everyone seemed happy, quietly celebrating the news. Mark had kept his promise. The company was beginning to give back again, showing that even after hard times, care and respect could grow. That evening, Sarah went home feeling hopeful. She told Mia the good news, and they shared a simple dinner filled with laughter. As Sarah tucked Mia into bed, she whispered, "We're going to be okay, sweetheart." Mia smiled sleepily. "I love you, Mom." Sarah kissed her forehead. "I love you too." The next day at work, Sarah found herself thinking about the future. The cancelled bonus had been painful, but it had also brought something new: a deeper connection with her co-workers, a stronger sense of community, and a belief that kindness could carry them through anything. Mark's leadership had shown that honesty and care were the foundation of a healthy company. And for Sarah, that made all the difference. The small bonus given that month was a fresh breath of hope for everyone at Bright Tech. It was a symbol not just of money, but of respect and understanding from the company's leadership. For Sarah and her co-workers, it meant that their hard work had not gone unnoticed. Mark watched as the office slowly transformed. The worries from the cancelled holiday bonus were still there in some hearts, but the team's spirit was stronger than ever. The kindness and cooperation had become part of the company's culture. One morning, Sarah arrived early, carrying a new idea. She had been thinking about ways to keep the team motivated and connected, even during difficult times. She walked to Mark's office and knocked softly. "Come in," Mark called. Sarah stepped inside, smiling nervously. "I have an idea for a team project." Mark looked up, interested. "Tell me." Sarah explained her plan for a monthly Bright Tech Day where employees could take time to volunteer in their communities or participate in team-building activities outside the office. The goal was to strengthen relationships and give back to others, building the kind of workplace culture they all wanted. Mark listened carefully. "I love it," he said. "It fits perfectly with what we're trying to build here. Let's start planning." Sarah left the office feeling proud and hopeful. It was the first step toward a new chapter for Bright Tech, one filled with purpose beyond profits. In the weeks that followed, the first Bright Tech Day was announced. Employees signed up eagerly for different activities. Some chose to clean parks, others helped at local shelters, and a group organized a free workshop for young students interested in technology. Sarah joined the team working at the shelter. As she handed out warm meals and talked with people, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. It reminded her why community and kindness were so important. At the same time, back in the office, the atmosphere was lighter. The shared experience of giving back brought people closer. They laughed more, listened better, and supported one another with renewed energy. Mark saw the positive changes and felt grateful. He knew the company's strength was in its people, their kindness, creativity, and resilience. One afternoon, during a team meeting, Mark shared the company's plan for the year ahead. "We have challenges, but we also have great opportunities. Together, we will grow, learn, and succeed." He looked around the room and saw faces full of hope and determination. Sarah thought about the journey they had been through, the canceled bonus, the hard days, the small acts of kindness that had grown into something bigger. It had not been easy, but they had come out stronger. After the meeting, Sarah walked outside to get some fresh air. She saw Mia waiting by the front gate, waving excitedly. Sarah's heart filled with joy. "Hi, sweetheart," she called. Mia ran to her and hugged her tightly. "Mom, I'm proud of you." Sarah smiled. "And I'm proud of you too." As they walked home together, Sarah thought about the future. She felt confident that whatever challenges came their way, they could face them because of the strength they found in kindness and community. Back at Bright Tech, Mark stayed late in his office, reviewing the company's plans. He opened a drawer and pulled out a photo of the team from last year's holiday party, the year the bonus was cancelled. He smiled softly. That year had been difficult, but it had taught him an important lesson: leadership was about more than decisions and profits. It was about caring for people, listening, and building trust. Mark wrote a note to himself: "Always remember, the heart of Bright Tech is its people." With a deep breath, he turned off the lights and left the office, feeling hopeful. Outside, the city lights shone brightly against the night sky. Just like Bright Tech, they reminded him that even in darkness, there was always light waiting to shine.